Oh, hello there. Good evening. Um, Welcome to La Ceramique. Do you happen to have a membership card with us? My apologies, I am not familiar. Oh, you have a recommendation. And, um, by whom, may I ask? Oh, well, I certainly wasn't expecting this tonight. I'd heard the rumors, of course, that there was a new member of our community, as it were, but, no one had told me that they would be so cute. Oh, please forgive me. Small indulgences when you have a clientele as small and as eccentric as ours. They usually appreciate that sort of thing. If it discomforts you, I'll make sure to cut down on such familiarities when we don't even know each other. That said, my name is Aaron of the House of Westmoreland. Um, I suppose I should offer you a second and more formal welcome to Les Ceramiques. Now, as you have no doubt already discovered, due to your new biology and your new state of being, um, traditionally prepared coffee upsets the stomach somewhat. What with your new diet and your body's adaptations to accommodate this new diet? The oh, it's a safe place here. I'll just come out and say it. Um, Blood has a fairly neutral pH, actually. And so the highly acidic nature of most coffee uh, makes things very uncomfortable when you try to mix the two. It's completely different from uh, the situation with a normal human stomach. Now, seeing as how this is your first visit with us, I would like to show you the preparation process in detail. Now, here, come, please. Please come have a seat right over here. As you can see, it's just the two of us right now. It is, of course, this early in the evening. Most of our kind are not exactly up and about. I assume that with you being so newly entered into our community, you haven't yet begun to manifest some of the more extreme traits of our kind, and so I suppose you can still tolerate the twilight out there, can't you? Oh, me? Yes, well, yes, I'm a special case. But that would be telling, wouldn't it? For now, yes. Oh, the decor, it's perhaps not as old world as you might see in some of the other businesses and facilities that cater to our people, but I like the sort of modern aesthetic we have here. It sets us apart a little bit from the stuffiness and tradition of the older houses. And, well, to tell the truth, the proprietor of Les Ceramiques does belong to one of those stuffier houses. It's not actually owned by the House of Westmoreland. That's a bit of a complicated business. Nonetheless, I have had wonderful results catering to the younger sort of generations of our people, and so I've been given quite a lot of leeway when it comes to decorating the place. Now, you see, we have an electric kettle at every single table, as it is imperative that we get the temperature just right for our particular blend. So, just pardon me one moment while I turn this on. Now, it will take a couple minutes for the water to come to temperature. Now, if you don't mind, I would like to hear more about you, since you are here for the very first time. I'd like to fill out a profile so that we can better serve you in the future, so that we can make accommodations when we get special varietals in of either coffee beans or other of the delicacies that our kind favorite. Oh, look at me, I'm being so coy about it. Even though it is really just the two of us here and there isn't a human for, oh, well, we're in a bit of an out-of-the-way place, aren't we? Probably at least 100, 200 meters. Anyway. Oh, I don't believe I asked for your name. My apologies. So, yes, what is your name? Oh, what an interesting name. It's, though I did say that our little cafe here caters to the younger individuals among our kind, that usually refers to, perhaps 1 or 2 centuries old, so, you're really a completely different level of young, I suppose, compared to them. So I'm not terribly familiar with human naming conventions. So I do wonder, is that name of yours particularly common or unusual among your former society? And if you don't mind me asking, what house do you come from? Oh, and look at that, the water is already ready. Alright, then we'll pour your coffee, and then we will continue filling out this paperwork. So, pardon me one more time as I reach past you. Alright. Now this is a special blend. It grows using special science invented by our people so that we can grow the coffee beans in locations which they do not ordinarily like to grow. You may have heard quite a lot about, for example, Hawaiian coffee, which grows in the shadow of volcanoes, as it were. That's quite a simple way of putting it, but the volcanic soil imparts a certain inherent acidity to the beans, which is the opposite of what we're looking for. We effectively grow our coffee beans deep underground, where coffee beans do not, well, the coffee trees do not ordinarily like to grow. But there is a particular kind of bulb which our people use. You have no doubt encountered it many, many times thus far. We use many of them in Les Ceramiques. Of course, we need to disguise ourselves to some extent if a human happens to walk in, even though we do, of course, require membership or referral to go beyond the entryway. But if we were to use entirely these special bulbs designed for our people, then it would be very suspicious to humans, because very little of the light emitted by these bulbs is visible to the human eyeball. However, we have genetically engineered these coffee beans to respond to the wavelength of radiation which is put out by these bulbs, and so we can grow these bulbs deep underground, and they produce a particularly alkaline bean in reference to other coffee beans, at least. They're still quite acidic as they are, and so we finish the process by performing a very dark roast. And, do you like cream? Do you like sugar? Excellent. The dark roast imparts further alkalinity, and when all is said and done, when you combine the function of temperature and time, you end up with a cup of coffee that is perfectly suited for our unique digestive tracts. And here you are. Oh, just a little. Here's a little decoction of a vintage of a particular sort that our kind loves so well. We'll just add a bit of that. Since it is your first time, we might as well make it special. If you want to partake of this further in the future, of course there'd be a small fee involved. But, well, what do you think? I see you must, your taste buds must still be partially human. My apologies, perhaps I was a little overly enthusiastic, but, whoever referred you put their trust in Les Ceramiques, so we will make it right. Here, let's add a bit of lemon. Well, it's not really lemon, it's freeze-dried granules, because it's not terribly common that one of our kind would want lemon, but here we are. And, oh, well, that's very against protocol, but I greatly appreciate the gesture. Usually if one of the staff members is to partake, a customer is to buy us a drink first. Well, what do you mean? That's not weird at all. Not for the kind of place Les Ceramiques is. Because we're more than just a cafe, you know. Oh, don't be like that. There's nothing untoward about it at all. But, well, the boss isn't in, so I suppose I can have just a little sip. Now, as I am a professional, I am able to exert tremendous control over my facial muscles and my expression, and maintain a perfectly formal and neutral demeanor. But if I were to guess, that tasted at least 20 times more foul to me than the original cup did to you. But I appreciate the thought. It was very cute of you to offer it. Oh, no. I'm not going to apologize. Not when you made me drink that humanish decoction. But don't worry, I don't hold it against you. You're just a newcomer, a neophyte, a junior. Oh, I won't degrade you by calling you a little child, but you have quite a lot of growing up to do in our society. Mentally and physically, before your body is fully accustomed to our ways. Tell me, how many times have you fed so far? Oh, that's not many at all. So you must still have quite a lot of your original blood in your veins. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no. Of course I'm not going to drink your blood. That would be... Well, that's... Among our kind, that's something only done in very intimate situations. It would be quite a silly thing for a mere... well, I suppose you could call me a butler. We have our own term in our own speech for this, but if that's how coffee tastes to you right now, then the inside of your mouth, your tongue will not have performed the necessary mutations to be able to form the vowels of our speech yet. So you can call me a butler for now, even though that's not terribly accurate. Oh, I can see the lids of your eyes beginning to droop. But you weren't expecting that, were you? No, I didn't put anything strange in your drink. That is for our people, the effect that caffeine has on us. Isn't that strange to most humans? Most neurotypical humans. Caffeine, in its role as a stimulant, makes people more awake, but for some reason, the way our brains work, the way our nerves work, caffeine has quite a soporific effect on us. Here, don't worry. You don't have to go anywhere for a while. The night is young. It's just the two of us. Let's enjoy our time while we're here. You know, I have a particular hobby that I would like your assistance in. I perform, well, humans call it tarot. We have our own term for it. Again, tongues, mutations, biology, all of that jazz. But it is a form of divination, and it is a hobby of mine, the practice of it. Would you like to see what the future holds for you in your role among our people? Excellent, then I'll be right back. Yes. Yes, I keep my grimoire right behind the counter. You never know in a town like this when you're gonna need it. You know, you wouldn't believe it from, judging by the ones who hold Les Eremiques within their territory, that anyone would think to cause trouble, but there are even stupid people among our people. So this here is my grimoire. And no, I'm not going to show you anything inside it. It is most private. It is my greatest weapon. Oh, it's that? You don't have a grimoire? Well, I wouldn't expect it. It's not as though every one of our people creates one, but when you have an interest in the esoteric and the, well, I call it the divine, although some of our people sneer at that term. When you have, but I am happy to say it, especially when it's just the two of us. When you have an interest in the divine, and in the esoteric, and in the secrets and lore that were once known to the ancients who came before, well, it helps to have a secure and a structured place to put all of your knowledge. And one of the very minor spells that I have gotten my claws on, you might say, allows for the storage of other paper-based magical items within my grimoire. I have a whole deck of cards that I literally store between 2 pages, and yet the whole thing lies flat. How's that for a magic trick? Alright. Sorry, I do love to show off when I have the opportunity, so thank you for giving me that opportunity. Now, this is my deck. It's not a tarot deck, but we'll call it a tarot deck, because that is what I'm sure you're thinking of it as. Now, I don't know how humans do it, but around here, you can just shuffle these like a regular deck of cards. The practice of divination in this regard descended from the same practices that led to the modern card games, as I've been told. I've never stepped foot in a human casino, but I've been to a casino run by our people, which, in my estimation, they were imitating the way of humans pretty hard, as you'll come to learn as you spend more time in our society. As much as we love to pretend that we're superior in every way to humans, quite a lot of our people have a certain envy for them. They wish they could live under the sun in the same way, participate in society of all of the swarming ants that cover the surface of this accursed planet. They wish they could be, for lack of a better word, normal. And I think I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have a certain portion of desire for that myself. Not necessarily to be among the humans, but to be able to walk in a crowd and not wonder if each and every one of those standing around me wished they could devour me, whether for a desire to have power over someone such as me, or a more carnal hunger or thirst, or just to get back at my master or my employer. I do wish, to some extent, that I could go about living a normal life among others, minding my own business and just seeking happiness where I might find it. Happiness for me and for those I love, my family, my friends and allies. The fact that I even need to say allies, along with all the others, isn't that quite sad, don't you think? Oh, but enough of that. I'm bringing the mood down, and I'm terribly sorry. You came here to relax and have a good time, and we're going to have a good time. Would you like a refill? Oh, you're not finished, all right. Well, here is my deck, my tarot deck. Now I need you. Well, first let's shuffle up. I'm not very good at it. My apologies. Not with these gloves on. Alright, that's the ordinary shuffle. And now, as we say, one more shuffle for the moon, our mistress, to acknowledge her role in the turning of the wheel of fate. And now, put your hand right here. Yes, on top of mine. It's not weird. We're just doing a divination ceremony. Oh, goodness, your hand is so warm. How is it warm? That doesn't... Oh, well, yes, of course. You're not fully... you've not fully become what you're going to. Your blood must be so hot in those veins. Does my hand feel cold in comparison? Oh, you flatter me so. In any event, think very carefully about the question you're going to ask. My specialty is divining the answers to questions regarding how a person grows in the way they should grow, whether that be in their career, in their relationships, in their hobbies. Forward progression is the thing. Forward progression and being where you want to be in however many years or decades or centuries. Not that I'm even centuries old. I'm quite young, even as our people go, but, well, in a particular sort of way. We're not talking about me. I'm so sorry for talking so much about myself. I am such a selfish and a tiresome host. We're talking about you and your future and what you want. So think hard. I'm going to count down from 10. And when I reach 0, which is the number of the moon, in the moon's purest and fullest and most beautiful shape, we will turn over the first card, okay? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Interesting. This is the card of the demigod of war. The demigod of war, wielding his axe, wearing, oh dear goodness, wearing only the banner of his victory draped over him like a sash. He was wearing something different the last time I saw this card. I wonder what could possibly be the reason for such a visual change. Something magical, something having to do with your question, something having to do with the answer, but an answer that neither you nor I can fully comprehend now. Only the moon and only the 3 sisters know. Well, I feel a certain thrumming a certain vibration and desire within this deck. It wants to give more answer. This is not a very usual outcome. Your coming here tonight must have been fateful, must have been portentous of interesting shakings up in our little world. I'm so glad that you came to share this moment with me. Now, this is a very powerful thrumming I feel within the deck. The countdown will be one of only 3 seconds once it begins, but you can think of your question before then. So close your eyes and think carefully. A second question, ideally related to the first, about your future and your progression in the way you should go. All right. 3, 2, 1. Interesting. The Black Forest, overlooking a field of grain. However, if you look closely at the details, the trees of this forest have faces, and the faces are twisted up in anxiety. They are waiting for a fateful day to come that will not be pleasant for them. And if you look out past the trees into the field, that is not a scarecrow you see there. That is a poor, poor person, standing all alone, looking away from the forest out to an empty horizon. What a fascinating guard. I couldn't even begin to imagine what this means for your future. From one perspective, you might be that lonely person standing in the field, looking out to the horizon, perhaps at a future that will be forever out of your grasp. Perhaps longing for something that never came to pass. But from another perspective, those in the forest are full of dread. There is darkness and danger and despair in the forest. And yet the figure in the field does not stand in the forest, but has turned their back to the forest. They have turned their back to dread and darkness, and they look out to a horizon that is as open as an open highway. Perhaps they have left behind all sadness, and what now lies in store for them is an open future. There is bittersweet sorrow, often, in leaving behind the things that once anchored us to our old world, anchored us to our old relationships and our old jobs and opportunities, things that are closed to us that gave us pain. Sometimes cutting ourselves free of those things so that we can move forward is liberating but very painful. Whatever the future holds for you, I hope that it is liberating. There is still a little energy in the deck, although it seems as though that was the focus of its intention and desire for us tonight. I think this will be another 10-second countdown. For your third question, again, keep your eyes closed. Keep your ever-so-warm hand on my poor cold corpse of a paw. And now please forgive me. I'm going to count slowly for these 10 seconds to try to draw every last bit of power out of these cards. It would be quite embarrassing if the last divination failed because we did not take our time. All right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, dear goodness. This is the visage of the Medusa, the mother of snakes, she who turns others to stone when they gaze upon her. You know, the Medusa has a particular connection to our people, mythologically and symbolically speaking. Now, was she ever a real person, the Medusa? Was she ever a real creature? There's quite a lot of debate among scholars and esoteric philosophers about that. I myself think, given all of the incredible elements of our society, I would not be surprised if the Medusa truly lived, if her species, the Gorgons, truly lived. Though they have certainly not been seen for a very long time. For thousands of years at the very least. But, you know, she lived pardon me, I'm a little tongue-tied. Perhaps it was my own sipping of your beverage. The Gorgons lived a solitary existence deep under the earth, as did our people for quite a long time before modern advancements have allowed us such locations as Les Ceramiques for our domains. The Gorgons could not gaze upon those who did not belong to their race or who did not possess protective, powerful magic without turning them to stone, and so it is that often our kind struggle immensely as we try to integrate ourselves into other societies, whether they be human societies or the societies of those who wear the skins of beasts as well as the skins of men. Somehow, when we try to move beyond our circles, the others always end up dead as though they had turned to stone under our loving gazes, under our embraces. And just as the Gorgons carried a powerful venom in their teeth, and their hair was living weapons they could barely control, so it is that our own hunger and thirst make us into sorts of beasts that we oftentimes wish we were not, that we cannot control, but which, again, poison and destroy those who come close to us, unless they belong to the same kind as ourselves. And so when you look on the picture of the Medusa on my card here, Divining the Future, it is interesting that in this artist's rendition of her, this magician's rendition of her, we can look into her eyes, we can appreciate her beauty. Because she is quite beautiful, is she not? We can look at her beautiful eyes, we can look at her perfect body, beautiful as the most beautiful woman, as the most beautiful serpent. A beautiful queen, and magician, and warrior, and everything she set out to be, until she met her match at the hands of a hero who was aided by the gods, divine forces outside of either her control or even the control of her adversary. She conquered all that she stood against, and she lived a surprisingly happy life with her friends and family, her loved ones and allies. And she went out, she died in battle. Which is, well, among our kind, we consider that quite honorable. In certain circumstances. And even after death, her name and her face possessed great power. As, of course, we have passed beyond death, and in so doing come into our power. So when you see the visage of the Medusa on my card, perhaps you should not think of a monster. Perhaps you should not think of a conquered queen. Perhaps you should not think of someone whose reputation is only one of destruction. But you should think of nobility, and of someone who was feared, who was respected, and who required the power of the gods themselves to overcome. If you find yourself moving in a sort of warrior's direction as well, I wouldn't be so presumptuous as to think I could predict your future, but There are certainly inklings in here that if you believe your future is one of bloodshed, one of power seeking, one of finding your own way in this accursed world, this underworld of ours, I think others perhaps could do worse than to ally with you, or to make friends with you. And perhaps in a few hundred years, when you are sitting upon your throne, ruling our world, perhaps, maybe you'll remember Aaron of the House of Westmoreland, and have pity and mercy on me. Well, I see you finally finished your coffee. Did it taste a bit better after the changes that we made to it to suit your more, pardon me, but your more human palate? Yes, and even still, I can see how heavy your eyelids are. I can hear even from over this side of the table with my, of course, my level of hearing that you will one day have when you are grown up enough, that your heart is beating even more slowly, slower and slower. You are heading off to dreamland, my friend. Oh, there's nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to be embarrassed about. Many people come here for exactly that reason. It's quite stressful living among our kind. I spoke earlier about walking among a crowd and wondering if everyone around you wanted to kill you and devour you. Well, within Les Ceramiques, you are safe. No one will hurt you here. We have a tremendous reputation to uphold. People come here because they know that this is one of the few places in our society where they can truly relax. Now, ordinarily, this thing I am about to tell you is a premium service. I mentioned that we are no ordinary cafe. I won't say ordinary. We are not quite a typical cafe. You don't simply drink coffee and eat baked goods here. I did mention a customer, a new member form, as it were. Let's while you still have control of your faculties, let's finish that now. We got your name, we got your house. Now, please tell me 3 words in terms of other foods that coffee tasted like to you. The notes that came to mind, that you enjoyed out of it, and we'll keep that in mind for sourcing future coffee beans for you. So your first choice is, and what was the second thing that you noticed? And finally, the third. Excellent. And in future, were you to come back, how much could you see yourself spending in a night on coffee and foods and potential other services of comfort and relaxation, is what it says on the form. Although I assure you it's nothing untoward. It's all very, very civilized, what we do here. If you were to come here, you needed to relax more than anything in the world. How much would you be willing to spend? You can tell me that you would spend nothing, that you spend 2 silver coins, even 5 human dollars. We can make whatever your budget is work, but we just need to know what your expectations are so that we can offer you exactly what you need and what you want without any awkwardness or embarrassment between us. We will never offer you something that you cannot afford, because it would be quite shameful of us to put you in a situation of having to turn us down because you could not afford it. I see. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your honesty. And if that ever changes, you can simply discreetly pass anyone working a piece of paper with your updated preferences. The most important thing is that we know how best to serve you without you needing to say a word. All right. Now, since it is your first time with us, and to give you a bit of an idea of what those services of comfort and relaxation are, please, would you please come with me back here? Now, I understand that you feel like you're going to fall asleep at any moment. And I'm telling you, it is okay that you put your head right down on my lap on this couch and simply let yourself fall into slumber. That is what this couch in this little back room is here for. That is what I am here for. So that when the toils of life in our society get impossible to handle, you know that there is one place and one person you can trust who cares only for taking care of you. No matter who you are, no matter what you've done, just for now, it is all right. Yes. Yes, that's right. Now, may I have your permission to touch your head, to brush your hair? Promise it is purely to help you fall off to slumber. Excellent. Does that feel good? I hope so. Now, when you wake, I will, most likely, not be here. You will, likely, be lying by yourself, comfortable on the couch, with a quilt laid over you. Who knows how much time will have passed? Perhaps an hour, perhaps 2. You'll be able to simply leave without speaking to anyone. We're all settled. I suppose you could even order another cup of coffee if you wish, but I believe my shift will have ended by then. When you next come, if you wouldn't mind, I would be grateful if you asked for me, for Aaron of the House of Westmoreland. The owner of this place, La Ceramique, has my lord in his debts, so my contract belongs to him, to a vampire lord who I hate with every fiber of my being. I respect him more than almost any of our kind, and yet, for the things he has done to people I love, to my master, for these things I hate him. And so every night I work for a man I respect and hate. But I suppose at least the work is not always so terrible. Sometimes, every once in a great while, the loneliness is broken up by a visit by an interesting sort of person. For example, a new-born vampire, only newly turned, human blood still pumping in their veins so warmly that I can feel it underneath your scalp. I can feel it as I touch your ears and the nape of your neck. Oh, it fills me with such a shameful hunger and thirst. But I was not lying when I said you were safe here. I will not touch you. I will not hurt you. Even though you are completely at my mercy, even though I could wrap my fingers around that beautiful neck of yours and sink my teeth right into your veins, and you probably wouldn't even know, I am someone you can trust. And I'd like to talk more with you. And I know that I could never live with myself if I betrayed your trust like this, if I exerted my power over you on our very first meeting and then pretended and lied to you that I was somebody you could trust. I think I'd like, in the future, for you to tell me more about the outside world, the world of humans that I know so little about, that I know only second-hand through the eyes and ears of vampires who hate the humans. But you grew up among them. You lived among them. You're still practically human yourself, and so you must have some kind of love for them, mustn't you? I'd like to hear about them. Their good, their bad, their joys, their sorrows, their virtue, their sin, the ways they save the world and the ways they destroy it, what they think of our kind, and, well, what they think of the Medusa. I'd like to think what you see when you stand in a field and look out at the empty horizon. I'd like to hear, because I think perhaps if I can learn more about what lies outside the walls of my workplace in our undercities, the burrows and hives where the vampires make their home, if I could imagine that there was a life outside of indentured servitude to the man I despise, I can tell myself, perhaps, a future other than that which I have divined for myself is reachable, even for someone like me.